Good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year. Thank you all for joining us. I'll let the record show that Councilwoman Cobb is on Zoom and Councilmember Alvarez is not present. We will start off with our invocation, and we have our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Solomon. Please stand. Most gracious Father, we come to you once and again to thank you for a new year. Continue to watch over us, protect us from all hurt, harm, and danger. Our men and women in uniform, our first responders, our residents, and our staff and council. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let the record show thank you, Chief. Council Alvarez, Councilmember Alvarez is present. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Mayor Pro Tem,
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda as printed.
Councilman Solomon,
Second.
all in favor, yes, all opposed, no. Councilwoman Cobb, yes or no?
Yes,
Thank you.
sure.
Motion carries 7-0. Madam Secretary,
Presentations. PR 26001, Colleen Starr Award.
thank you. Councilmember Kendrick, would you join me, please? Once again, good afternoon, everyone. As you know, the council present a Star Award to one of our deserving citizens. And this time, Councilman Kendrick has that honor. Councilman Kendrick.
All right. I have Miss Sharon here. She does a lot, and I was walking around and I was noticing that she had a lot of bags in a garage. And when she told me what she was doing, I thought it was a great thing. She was taking these gifts down here to our homeless and making sure they had items that people would know the homeless, you're not forgotten. And here right now, even in our country, it's being where it's trying to be criminalized to be homeless. And we still have to take care of our homeless individuals that are in our city. And they have a whole backpack that they give this, the homeless, and I just thought it was a great thing, and I said this would be the first Star Award I give as a councilman and everything. So without further ado, Ms. Sharon, will you come forward?
I thank God for this honor. It's a privilege, and to step in and see our homeless individuals, and because of the steps and the effort that we have made at Wade Chapel and across, and Sister Yvonne and her ministry to support it, it's growing. And I want to thank those that are supporting this ministry for all the help that they are doing, and my friend, Brother Anthony, for acknowledging the moment. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take sorry.
On behalf of the city of Killeen, we would like to present you the Killeen Star Award presented to Reverend Dr. Sharon Daniels Rich, January 6, 2026.
You're welcome. Thank you.
PR 26002, check presentation from Clean Sister Cities, Osan, Korea Committee to the Clean Youth Advisory Commission.
Okay. Sorry. Yes, that's okay. Are you presenting this way or that way? Present that way.
Hey, Miss Roxanne and Miss Janice. And Mara.
Stop. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Roxanne Flores. I am the president of Killeen Sister Cities Osan Korea Committee. I do like to introduce our board members before we do this presentation.
Jan Anderson, I'm Secretary of Killeen Sister Cities.
Mary Banton, social media.
All right. Well, Sister Cities Osan Korea was established by the city of Killeen in 1993. Our sister city is Osan Korea. And twice a year, we do annual events. We do an exchange in April, which we partnered this year with Celebrate Killeen. And normally in October, we actually do an international festival. But as the board pondered earlier in this year, we decided instead of doing the festival, let's give back to our community. And so we chose several organizations. We chose Central Texas College, and these were all part of our mission as well as within our bylaws. Central Texas College, we chose Tri-County Soccer, and then the Korean War Veterans, and of course now the City of Killeen Youth Advisory Commission. It's very heartfelt for me and Bittersea and KISD, thank you. It's very heartfelt for me for the City of Killeen Youth Advisory Commission. Many years ago when I worked for the City of Killeen, I actually got involved with Sister Cities via the YAC. The Youth Advisory Commission was phenomenal at that time, as it still is, and it was always nice to have the students sitting at the table using their voices. And so when we give this money to the Youth Advisory Commission, our goal is that they continue using the voices that they have and being the leaders in our community, City of Killeen. And so if we could have the Youth Advisory Commission come up. And so we have a check that we'd like to give to y'all. We think it's a phenomenal program, and so we have a check for you for $5,000. You want to move the microphone?
Thank you very much. Discuss work session. Discuss agenda items 3 to 20 for the January 6, 2026 regular session. No final actions until regular session. Madam Secretary.
LMN 26001, consider minutes of regular city council meeting of November 18th, 2025. LMN 26002, consider minutes of regular city council meeting of December 2nd, 2025. Ailman 26003, excuse me. Consider minutes of special city council meeting of December 2nd, 2025. RS 26001, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the purchase of library books from Ingram Library Services through the Texas Smart Buy Cooperative Purchasing Program for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $155,000.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. McNair.
Good afternoon. The state of Texas approved TechSmart Buy contracts with 9 vendors for library books in 2025. Ingram Library Services contract offers the highest discounts in 5 of 6 categories of materials most frequently used by the Killeen Public Library. Although one vendor offers higher discounts on paperback books, the difference is offset by Ingram's lower cost for the catalog record. This table just shows the difference in the discounts, with Ingram at the top is best to least best. Alternatives are to choose a company offering a lower discount from a list of approved TechSmart Buy vendors for library materials, or approve the purchase of library materials from Ingram Library Services through TechSmart Buy program due to their higher discounts offered. We recommend that City Council authorize the purchase of the library books through Ingram Library Services for the duration of the TechSmart Buy contract and the amount of $155,000 for fiscal year 2026. And I am available for questions, but I also have our library director here, Ms. Deanna Frazee, which I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge her and her over 30 years of service with the city of Killeen. As library director, she has decided to retire, and so this will be her last meeting with us, but I did want to do that. She's probably going to kill me, but I wanted to acknowledge her service and bid her a really well-spent retirement.
Thank you, Ms. McNair. If you don't mind, I would like for her to say at least something after
Yes.
30 years. And thank you for your service.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure and an honor to serve Killeen since February 1995. I have truly enjoyed it. I work with a great staff of people, and I've seen our city grow from a very small-town government into a real government that's working for the people, and it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you all for the support you've given us. I could not be happier with my time here. And you'll probably see me now and then. We'll be bringing a library plan to you, and I'll be here to support it as a citizen. And it'll be nice to be on the other side.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you once again so
Thank
much
you.
for your service. Madam Secretary.
RS 26002, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the purchase of maintenance and repairs of HVAC equipment through the Brandt Companies for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $272,759.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, City Council. Happy New Year. As stated, this item is for HVAC repairs and maintenance for fiscal year 2026. Building Services uses HVAC vendors to assist with maintenance and repair of units with a budget of $351,855. The Brandt Companies LLC is frequently used for maintenance and repair of large complex units at the police department and other city facilities. The police department is under a 2-year agreement with the Brandt Companies LLC for annual maintenance and inspection. Pricing for the Brandt Companies services is through the Buy Board Purchasing Cooperative. The total expense for HVAC maintenance and repair in fiscal year 2026 from the Brandt Companies is estimated to be $272,759, which includes the $25,860 for the police department's annual maintenance and inspection agreement. Staff recommends this item for approval, and at this time, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Thank
There
you.
are no questions of you.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary, thank you. Madam Secretary.
RS 26003, consider a memorandum resolution awarding bid number 2602 for the original airline terminal demolition project at Skylark Field Airport to R&L Global Incorporated in the amount of $168,750.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Provost.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, City Council, and citizens. The original airline terminal building at Skylark Field is approximately 65 years old and has been vacant for most of those years, for about 48. The building has long surpassed its useful life, and due to its overall condition, it can no longer be occupied safely. Skylark Field Master Plan that was approved in October 2016 calls for the demolition of the terminal to make way for future aviation development. Demolition of the building will allow the Aviation Department to pursue development of the existing land on and around the building. The project was advertised on October 26th of November of 2025. Advertising appeared in local newspapers as well as the city's website and on multiple statewide election bidding sites. The project will consist primarily of the demolition of the existing building and foundation to prepare the land for future use. The funding for this project will come from the Aviation Capital Improvement Fund. Bids were opened on November 20th, and we received 7 bids, and R&L Global, Inc. was the lowest responsible bidder at $168,750. Of note, they were also the bidder who tore down the 1980s terminal building. Staff reviewed the bid packages and found R&I Global to be the lowest responsive bidder, and staff recommends the contract be awarded to R&L Global, Inc. in the amount of $168,750. And our recommendation is to award the bid to R&L Global, Inc. in the amount of $168,750 to demolish the Skylark Aviation Building, pending any questions.
Thank you, sir. There are no questions. Madam Secretary.
RS 26004, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing a letter of agreement with Rice Inspection Incorporated for construction inspection on the lift station number 6 rehabilitation and expansion project in the amount of $161,688.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Zager.
Good afternoon, Mayor and fellow council members. So we're here to look for the approval of a letter of agreement with Rice Inspections. So on October 21st, 2025, the City Council awarded a construction contract for lift station number 6 to rehab and expand the overall lift station. And it was to bill contractors in the amount of $6,961,950.10. Due to the current workload of our inspectors with our projects, the private development, and also the complexity of this type of project, doing the lift station controls, SCADA, all that, we are looking to recommending to outsource the inspection of this particular project. So we worked with Rice Construction, and just as a little bit of background, we've already done 5 projects with them recently, very similar. We worked with Tremere Sewers, the Tremere Sewer line that went to the middle school, the Pump Station 2. They also did the Chaparral Pump Station, and then the force main that went down Chaparral, for example. So this is work that we've done with them in the last few years. So we looked to them again. They have the right type of staff. They have the certifications and the qualifications to look at a project like this. So city staff negotiated LOA with Rice Inspections in the amount not to exceed $161,688 for this project. Rice Inspections, like I say, they're doing Chaparral Pump Station number 2, currently right now. And then the location of this pump station is over there by AA Lane Park, just downhill from the water storage tanks. There's that pump station there on Water Street. And then, like I say, we're going to expand it and enlarge it. Recommendation is to approve the approval of this letter of agreement with Rice Inspection. And I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Zagers, it's more cost-effective if we outsource?
Well, it is, because our inspectors don't quite have the background for some of the technical aspects of this type of project with the electrical, the pumps, the SCADA system. Rice has done that. They've shown they have the right certifications for that.
Thank you for answering that. I mean, we state that we're going to outsource, and I just want the residents to know why it will save the city money. And thank you for that. But other than that, there are no questions. Thank you. You have the next item.
I do.
All right. Madam Secretary.
RS 26005, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the execution of a professional services agreement with Garver LLC for the design of the reuse water for Community Center Park project in the amount of $151,908.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Zegers.
Thank you. So in fiscal year '25, in the Water Sewer Capital Improvement Plan, this project is included as a reuse water for the Community Center Park project. This project includes a pump and pipe system that will transfer the reuse water from the Bell County WCID number 1's North Sewer Plant and to the existing irrigation system that's already there at the community center, the Rosa Herford Community Center, and Mickey's Dog Park. Garver submitted a professional service agreement for the design, contract, and administration of this project in the amount of $151,908. Garver has provided exceptional work with the city, mainly with the airport. They've also worked with us in the Water and Sewer Department for some emergency projects. One thing to kind of note is this project is to design that pipe system that goes from WCID, the sewer treatment plant, to the irrigation system, but it's also going to be looking at the pump that's already at the sewer treatment plant because we're using that same water to provide reuse water to the golf course too. So we're making sure that that pump that they have out there is appropriate for both uses. And then that's kind of the location. There's the sewer treatment plant, and then right adjacent is the park, the community center park, and of course across the street is the dog park. And then recommendation is to approve the agreement with Garver.
Thank you,
And then
Mr. Zegers. I have one quick question. Once you evaluate to see if it's usable to provide the water for both locations, if there's a plus cost to it, because you really don't know at this time, you will bring this item back.
Right. Well, that'll be part of the construction contract and any agreement we have to do with WCID.
Yes, sir. Once again, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary.
Madam Mayor, I'm going to read the next two items into the record. Mr. Dudley will be presenting them.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
RS 26006, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement with the Central Texas Council of Governments for the Household Hazardous Waste event on April 11th, 2026. RS 26007, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement with the City of Harker Heights for the Household Hazardous Waste event on April 11th, 2026.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good afternoon, Mr. Dudley.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Council. The item I have before you is the Household Hazardous Waste Interlocal Agreement. A little bit of background, City of Killeen hosts a household hazardous waste collection event annually, allowing residents to dispose of hazardous products in a safe manner. The event is scheduled for April 11th, 2026 at the Killeen Special Events Center. The interlocal agreement with Central Texas Council of Governments would open the event up to all residents in the region and provide additional funding. The city will reimburse SIGCOG the difference between their dedicated $25,000 amount and the total event cost. FY25 HHW event, we had 476 cars from the 3 counties. In this slide right here, you can see images of the event, which was a very successful event. Again, like I said before, it will be held at the Special Events Center, and all materials are handled and transported by the Clean Earth Environmental Services, which is a third-party company that specializes in hazardous waste and disposal. Some of the HHW acceptable items are as follows: fluorescent bulbs, acids, antifreeze, petroleum products, household cleaners, used oils, pesticides, herbicides, paints, batteries. Things that are not accepted are electronics, firearms, smoke detectors, explosives, pressurized containers, and tires. Staff recommends that City Council authorize the city manager or designee to execute an interlocal agreement between the City of Killeen and the Central Texas Council of Governments for $25,000 grant to allow residents of 7 counties the opportunity to dispose of hazardous products. I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Councilmember Segarra.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
And thank you. I think that this is a great event we do every year. And you said that we had 476 cars that came through it.
Yes.
Every year, and I serve on the Sitcog too, so this is a great effort between the two organizations. But my question is, because I always get people that say, you don't know, I didn't know anything about it. And so I know we do a lot of marketing, right? We put it in the water bill and newspaper and all that. What other marketing is there to try to reach as many people as we can, let them know about this event?
Well, we do get with communications, and we actually put it out and do what you would call probably a social media blitz. We do it at the beginning of the year, and we try to inform the people as much as possible. And also, we have a lot of customers that do call into the solid waste department, and they ask about these things, and we actually, we do that too. We always let them know from that standpoint too.
Always appreciate it, yeah, because we want to try to hit as many people, because for some reason, people come and say, I didn't know anything about it. It's like, I've had these oil cans where I've changed my car, and they're just sitting in my garage. I wish I can get rid of them.
Right.
Or paint, and I said, you should have took advantage of that hazardous waste. And they're like, when do you guys do that? So,
Yeah, it's been successful the last couple of years, really successful. We've seen a lot of cars come through, a lot of people come through from 3 different counties. So it's been successful.
well, thank you, appreciate it.
All right.
The next item, Madam Secretary.
Madam Mayor, I read the next item into,
No, it's talking about the slides. I'm sorry, Francisco.
okay.
The next item I have is household hazardous waste interlocal agreement with Parker Heights. On May 3rd, 2025, City of Killeen with Central Texas Council of Governments hosted its annual household hazardous waste event, allowing residents in the Sitcog region to dispose of hazardous products in a safe manner. The event did draw 476 participants, 75% of them being from the Killeen and Harker Heights area. The City of Harker Heights has proposed an interlocal agreement with the City of Killeen to provide funding assistance in the amount of $5,000 for the FY26 Household Hazardous Waste event. The event is held Saturday, April 11th, at the Special Events Center, and the additional funding will help cover operational and disposal costs. Again, as you can see in this slide, there's images of the event, which was very successful. And again, it is being handled and transported by Clean Earth Environmental Services, which is a third-party company that specializes in hazardous waste material. Staff recommends that the City Council authorize the city manager or designee to execute an interlocal agreement between the City of Killeen and City of Harker Heights for a contribution of $5,000 towards the FY26 Household Hazardous Waste event. And I'm here to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. I commend the executive directors and the city for their partnership with other cities and entities. But Mr. Dudley, I want to say thank you. I mean, you are leading public work and all your hard work and what you do in the absence of our former public work executive director. Thank you for your hard work and just moving the team forward.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Madam Secretary.
RS 26008, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing City of Killeen officials to submit the grant application for the fiscal year 2026 bullet-resistant components for law enforcement vehicles grant and to accept any subsequently awarded grant.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good afternoon, Chief Lopez.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. I bring this item forward to seek your authorization to apply for the 2025-2026 Bullet Vehicle Resistant Glass Grant. If approved and granted by Texas, by the grantor, the department will be able to outfit up to 50 cars with bullet-resistant glass in our vehicles. And I'll go through it. I don't want to read the whole presentation to you, but this is the gist of it. The good thing about this grant is going to be we apply for $467,000, and there's no match. No match funds are required. So our recommendation is that the City Council approve this to apply for this grant, and hopefully we get it so we'll be able to keep our officers a little bit safer out there in the streets.
Thank you, Chief Lopez. That was to the point. Thank
Yes.
you. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Thank you. Madam Secretary.
Chief Kabinski has the next three items. I will read those into the record.
Yes, ma'am.
RS 26009, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the purchase of personal protective equipment from North American Fire Equipment Company in the amount of $234,652.80.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Do you want me to wait to?
No, you can do both. You can do them.
Yes, ma'am. RS 26010, consider a memorandum resolution approving the inspection, cleaning, and repair of personal protective equipment through Lion Total Care in the amount of $106,407.90. And last, RS 26011, consider a memorandum resolution approving the purchase of self-contained breathing apparatus and associated equipment from MES Life Safety in the amount of $3,012,625.15, and a mobile air compressor trailer from August Industries in the amount of $222,639.90.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, City Manager. These first two items are a matter of routine budgeted processes, so you might have seen these presentations before, just with updated figures and numbers. And the third is going to be a little bit lengthier, but I'll try to keep it as brief and informative as possible. Our PPE, which is our structural turnout gear, is required under NFPA, National Fire Protection Association Standard 1851, to have a 10-year lifespan. And along with that 10-year lifespan, we at KFD have planned a 20% replacement each year, which you would say, well, that would be 5 years. How does that work out? It also calls for a standard to have a second set of gear so that if firefighters are exposed to those carcinogens and those byproducts of combustion, we're able to get that gear decontaminated while they still have another set of gear to continue doing their job. This is what that turnout ensemble looks like. It includes the helmet, the hood, the coat, the pants, the gloves, and the boots. And typically, that set for this year is $234,652 for 46 complete sets. Additionally, we're going to get 4 extra helmets, boots, and gloves just for replacements. Those are high-wear items that tend to possibly break prior to their 5-year lifespan. And then 54 additional PPE hoods that protects all the skin that surrounds the firefighter's face mask. This is a budget expense, and this does conform to city policy, and it's our recommendation to approve this item. The second item goes along with the PPE. We have to also take care of and inspect that turnout ensemble. And so that is a different company. NFPA requires that we clean twice annually and we inspect once annually. And this is also a state standard that the Texas Commission on Fire Protection comes out and does an annual audit to ensure that we are doing just that. I'm happy to say that our Support Services Division successfully completed that audit this year, along with a number of other things on the department, with no deficiencies noted throughout the entire department. One of the things that they pointed out specifically was the new Support Services Station, where the gear cleaning and inspection takes place. So that was specifically noted. Again, this is the ensemble that has to also be inspected, cleaned, and sometimes repaired. Our job is not easy at times. We do see tears or wear, and we don't have to replace it, so we're able to have repairs done through our Lion First Responders PPE company. And that amount is $106,407.90 for this fiscal year. It is a budgeted expense, and it is our recommendation to approve this item. And on to the next one. This is a big one. I tried to keep this as succinct as possible while giving full understanding, because just using the term SCBA, some people might not understand. But this is our self-contained breathing apparatus and an air compressor trailer. Our SCBA is our lifeblood when it comes to fighting fires and protecting our firefighters' lungs from any of the hazards that they're exposed to. And we find out each and every year that those hazards are even more and more that we don't even realize. It provides our firefighters with clean, breathable air in our hazardous environments, and they consist of a high-pressure air cylinder, the harness, a regulator, a face piece that they don, and then they connect the regulator to. It allows us to breathe in those contaminated atmospheres. It also prevents inhalation of toxic gases and particles. There's sometimes particles in the air that we don't even see. So our firefighters wear these quite often. They're trained to use the SCBAs through all phases of the incident, including after the flames are extinguished, and they're also used outside of just structural fires. It can be in hazardous materials incidents, also confined space rescues, underground and confined areas. We established a committee of firefighters and officers from the Killeen Fire Department to evaluate the 3 most recognized SCBA manufacturers, which are MSA, Draeger, and Scott Safety, to determine what the best option is for the firefighters. And I can tell you that the assistant chiefs or chiefs were not part of this committee. We don't wear them as often as our firefighters do, so it was important to get their input through a 3-phase approach, which is educational session and product overviews, the field evaluations, and a technical analysis after both of those phases were completed, along with some additional research. Just to give you an idea of the 3 items that were looked at, this is the MSA G1XR. This is the Draeger PSS 7700 or 7000, and this is the Scott X3 Pro. Those were the 3 items that were evaluated. They were evaluated and scored in 4 areas: the quality of the product, the ability to deliver the product in a timely manner. Sometimes, as you can see with fire engines, we have some delays. We wanted to ensure that we could get delivery of the product sometime in this fiscal year. Safety, comfort, and reliability for the user. And then what is the support of the product and what training does the manufacturer provide? The committee decided that determined that the X3 Pro by Scott was selected for the following reasons. It's a proven design. It has a lifetime bumper-to-bumper warranty. The life expectancy of these units are at least 10 years. Depending on wear and tear, it's hard for them to give us a number because some departments are not as busy as others, but we were given an expectancy of at least 10 years. It is a dual redundant safety feature, and what that means is that if one hose malfunctions for some reason, there's a bypass that allows firefighter to continue getting air, which is something that was specific to their device that was more reliable than some of the other devices. Superior reliability, and then the availability, they're expected to ship within 90 days. And then we're going to move on to the trailer. Additionally, when we get out to large scenes, even some of the routine scenes, firefighters go through 2 or 3 bottles sometimes, and carrying all of those bottles on an apparatus are difficult. Some of our apparatus used to have a refill station that was part of the fire truck, and we found that that's not a reliable option either. But to have a trailer that has all of these items on it that can be pulled by any vehicle whatsoever was found to be the most advantageous. And this trailer would consist of the items that you see here. I'll show you pictures of it instead. It includes some features as well, like AC or heat strips, so that you can actually fill the bottles in a climate-controlled environment, a power awning, spare tire, LED lighting, and 3 positions to fill the SCBA, so you can fill 6 bottles at one time, which for large-scale incidents would be important. This also allows us to keep fire engines from driving to support. Just to refill air bottles, they would be able to come out. This is a photo of what the actual trailer would look like and what's inside of it. You'll see in this next slide, if you take a look up here, this is what the fill station is. There would be 3 of those. You have to have a cascade system, which holds the air so that you can fill the bottles. A CO monitor, because it is running a generator. We want to make sure that the person operating the fill stations doesn't get overcome by carbon monoxide. Hose reels. These are very important because they are 100-foot hose reels that can actually be taken to an incident of a confined space and have an unlimited supply of air as opposed to a 30-minute air bottle that a firefighter has. So as they're working underground or maybe in a collapse situation, firefighters wouldn't have to leave, switch bottles out to go back. Then, of course, the compressor, which is the heart, and some storage compartments. The total cost for this item for the trailer is $222,639.90. The total cost of the 165 SCBA systems is $3,012,625. This is budgeted through a recent CO that was issued. It does fall within the approved amount of the CO. And it is our recommendation to approve the purchase of both items tonight. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Chief, for your briefs. No questions. Okay, yes, you do. I apologize.
Thanks, Chief, for that. Just a quick question. I see you have two hoses as depicted in, that are depicted on the picture, but in the actual delivery, how many hoses can be for that extension out, the 100-foot?
There would be two main hoses. It is possible to break those out into a Y if needed, but typically we wouldn't have more than two people working in a confined area at one time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary.
RS 26012, consider a memorandum resolution appointing members to the Board of Adjustment.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thank you. All right, recently, City Council consolidated the 4 separate boards of adjustment and appeals into a single board of adjustment. And so as a reminder, this consolidated board's purpose is to hear appeals from any order or decision from the building official, variance requests, special exception requests, dangerous building cases, amendments to Chapter 8, and I also make recommendations to the international and building codes. The board will consist of 9 regular members serving staggered 2-year terms. So that's 4 members with construction and building experience, 1 member with aviation, 1 member with fire prevention or suppression experience, and 3 at-large members. And council may appoint additionally up to 2 alternate members. So I have the next 2 slides here for you. You have received the current applications on file for these boards, for all of the boards, including the current members that were on all of the most recent boards that were appointed and all the people that applied for those boards as well. And so what I'm requesting from you tonight is to appoint members, 4 members with construction and building experience. I do have these term ending. 2 will end September 2027, 2 will end September 2026. And then the next slide will have the fire prevention and aviation. But I would put it back to you if anyone has any nominations for these members.
Council, what is your, thank you. Councilwoman Cobb, do you have a nomination?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I did take some time to look at the vacancies and the list of applicants, those currently serving and those who have not served. I do have a recommendation for all the slots on the BOA if you're wanting
Yes,
to
sir,
hear those.
please.
Construction, I had Chet Southworth, Justin Marin, Philip Marley, and Tracy Archer. For aviation, I had Glenn Birmingham. For fire, Ronald Blackman. And for the 2 at-large, Jarrett Irby Holden and Chetty Emile.
Thank you so kindly.
You're welcome.
Is council okay with the recommendations? Councilwoman Cobb?
I think those are honorable recommendations. I'm okay with it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Councilmember Alvarez. Oh, I apologize. Councilmember Sagara. You have
No, I
another
was just gonna, since I dropped the ball, I was gonna ask, because I didn't know when we got the list, and so I don't know if it was emailed to us or not. If they did, I probably just,
It was
but I'm
emailed.
okay, so at least Mr. Alvarez did his job for all of us. Thank you.
I think other council members had recommendation. I can see them, but they chose to just follow the lead of Councilmember Alvarez, and thank you for that. Mayor Pro Tem.
Could you repeat the last name? I want to make sure it's the same one.
For the at-large slots, I had Jarrett Irby Holden and Chetty Emile.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for working together on that, and for the ones that did have recommendations that you just went along with, Councilmember Alvarez. Thank you.
Mayor, if I can get additional clarification, I was trying to write as quickly as you were speaking, but I didn't quite get there. So for aviation, I have Birmingham, fire prevention, I have
Ronald
Blackman,
Blackman.
and then for the 3 at-large,
I only had 2 at-large on my radar, Jared Irby Holden and Chetty Emile. I
Chetty.
did see that there was a option to add 2 alternates, but I did not make a recommendation for those.
we actually have 3 at-large spots and then 2 additional alternate at-large spots.
Okay.
So you've given a recommendation for everything except for 1 at-large spot and then the 2 alternates. So if there's anybody else we want to add, or if we just want to go with what's been recommended.
Yes, ma'am. So are we going with what Councilmember Alvarez recommend, or any, okay, that's yes, 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 yes. Councilwoman Cobb, is that a yes? You can nod yes or no.
That is a yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So they want to go with the recommendation of Councilmember Alvarez. There, do you have a person? Okay, well, we're not going with that recommendation. The one at large.
Thank you, Madam. I fully accept his recommendation. There was, I just want to confirm, 1 at large
Yes, ma'am.
available. Okay, so my recommendation for that at large was Kadeem Speller.
Who?
Kadeem Speller.
Okay, great. Thank you, Councilwoman Gonzalez. So are we all in agreement? Okay, is that a yes? Councilwoman Cobb?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anything else, Madam City Attorney?
Not on that item, no, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you once again, Council. Madam Secretary.
OR 26001, consider an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 20, Article 2, itinerant peddlers, merchants, etc., to amend regulations related to itinerant vendors.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, yes,
This is
ma'am.
the itinerant vendor ordinance. A little bit of background on this is that this ordinance establishes guidelines and restrictions relating to vendors who do not have a fixed place of business in Killeen or who go door to door or place to place, selling or soliciting orders for goods, wares, or merchandise. The legislature recently passed House Bill 2844 that requires a state license to operate a food truck, and the city may not enforce rules in conflict with the new law. I do want to point out that the relevant provisions of House Bill 2844 won't go into effect until July 1st, 2026. Meaning that the state license for food trucks won't happen until after that. But staff has reviewed with council's discussion previously on a similar item, and we are making the recommendation to remove food trucks from this ordinance to eliminate duplication and of requiring both a state and city permit for food trucks, or requiring 2 city permits, one being the vendor permit for city events and the second being the itinerant vendor permit. So the proposed changes in this ordinance, the purpose again is to eliminate duplication. The changes include the following requirements: exclude the requirements to obtain a city itinerant vendor permit. So what would be excluded would be mobile food vendors who hold a state-issued mobile food vendor license. And again, that was going to be, nobody will have a mobile food vendor license from the state until after July of this year. And then the second, any vendor who holds a vendor permit in connection with a city-hosted event. And additionally, changes would add the sale of services to the list of door-to-door, place-to-place sales that must be permitted, so that services will be treated the same as the sale of goods. So right now, the ordinance only regulates the sale of goods and doesn't include services. This would put them all as being regulated under this ordinance. So the recommendation is that City Council approve the amendments as presented. And I'm here for any questions.
Yes, ma'am, and I'm just asking this because I don't know. That excludes Girl Scouts, like at Walgreens and places of that nature? Because they sell their cookies every year. And then we have our Boy Scouts too. They sell like at Walmart and things like that, but they're not included, correct?
There are exceptions from this ordinance, and let me pull those up.
Because I need my cookies.
I'm sorry?
I said I need my
You
cookies.
need your
but
cookies.
yes,
I
ma'am.
understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Me as well.
Well, you can because they have to vote on it. Before we vote on it, you can tell me if you have it, if not. But they are an exception. Is that correct?
I just wanted to, vendor, sale of goods, just wanted to confirm. Yes, sale of goods, wares, and merchandise by any bona fide charitable, religious, or philanthropic organization is exempted from the ordinance.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Madam City Attorney. Councilmember Segal?
Thank you, Mayor. Just one quick question. If I understand this right, the licensing for food vendors is from the state now, but are we required to police it? Who's going to check on that? Is it the state that's checking that? If we sue food vendor out there, is our police going to go out there and check to verify it, or?
The statute does allow for enforcement by local law enforcement or state law enforcement, and so it could be in conjunction with both. There's authority for both there under the statute.
So let's just say that they don't know they have to get a license, and what is do they get a fine from the state or for the city, or what, do we recommend the state come out and chase them out, or what?
If they're operating without a license, there are penalties for that, and the state could investigate that. Also, local law enforcement can investigate that as well, but the city's not going to be sending out any fines for not having a state permit. But they could investigate a violation, not having a health inspection, but operating without that health inspection and without the state license.
And just one quick thing, because I know we went through this, I don't know if it was last year, a couple of years ago, with the signage and all that. Does that have any effect? How I think we had to create something for them to be able to put
The
signs or
flag,
flags. And does that have any effect on, I can't even remember the way we set that up, but if,
Signage for food trucks?
You remember?
yeah, they had the flag, that flag ordinance that
Right.
we,
That's our sign ordinance that is implicated. That is not related in any way to the state license for
okay,
mobile
yeah, that's
food
what I
trucks.
wanted. There's no conflict, so even though we have regulations for them, and the state now comes in and says, so it doesn't affect the
That-
ordinances.
That's correct. This is not a complete preemption bill by the state. We can still regulate food trucks, and in certain ways that do not conflict with the state statute. So yes, we could regulate signage.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And I just want to piggyback on that. I know our law enforcement can go out to check, but I'm hoping that the council realize they do have a higher priority. I guess if someone call it in, they'll go out and check, but I would hope that chief, that don't be a job description, like go check vendors, okay? I'm just saying. Councilman Kendrick.
My question is, can we have them where they have to have it displayed? That would prevent a lot. Just like how a barber has to have that license displayed, could we have the food truck vendor have the license displayed?
So, yes, I mean, that sounds like you want to have a mobile food truck, specific ordinance, right? What you have in front of you is an itinerant vendor license where we're accepting food trucks from that because they're going to have a state license. However, if you're wanting to look at other regulations that aren't in conflict with the state to regulate mobile food trucks, the city could do that.
Yeah, that's what
Yes, ma'am. But it won't be added on to this one. It'll be another one.
Right, this
Okay.
would be the itinerant vendor requiring a permit for door-to-door sales of goods and services.
Yes, ma'am. Does that answer your question, Councilman Kendrick? Okay. Once again, thank you. Madam Secretary.
OR 26002. Consider an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 25, Article 5, Parades and Assemblies, and repealing Chapter 5, Article 4, Shows, etc., to adopt updated regulations for special event permitting.
Thank you. Assistant City Manager Wilson. Good
Yes,
afternoon, ma'am.
Well, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. As you'll recall, back in October, Council provided some direction to staff related to some ordinance changes you wanted to see for the Chapter 25 Special Events Ordinance. Additionally, this will also repeal Chapter 5, Article 4. All right, so currently, different types of events are regulated under different chapters of the code. So parades and assemblies are regulated under Chapter 25, where shows and performances, carnivals, and similar events are regulated under Chapter 5. So part of our intent in consolidating is to make it easier for the users. So they're not having to dig through the entire code of ordinances. They can find all the information they need in one place. Our current regulations were adopted decades ago and don't fully reflect current public safety or resource management needs. All right. So one of our objectives was not only to consolidate those into a single, more updated framework, but also to improve clarity and administration of event permitting. So like I said, council directed staff to review the parade and assembly ordinance, and additionally, we held a stakeholder meeting that was held at the end of September, and that included the Downtown Merchants Association, the Downtown Advisory Board, the Youth Advisory Commission, and internal city departments. Not only did stakeholders support some of the changes proposed, but they provided some truly valuable feedback. And I'll just take another opportunity to thank all of our stakeholders who attended that meeting and provided some really insightful feedback. It was a very productive meeting, and I really appreciate the time they took to contribute their feedback. So some of that feedback included not closing down streets for smaller or first-time events. That does do a disservice to some of the existing businesses or property owners if it is a small event. We have a lot of city-owned lots downtown that are great for hosting events. And so if we can make those available rather than closing down streets, that's a more ideal situation, not only for the event holder, for the people attending, so it's a safer event, but also for the businesses that are impacted. The other thing that we talked about was a need for a predictable application timeline and event timelines. That way everyone's clear on when to submit a permit application, how long that process is going to take, and what conditions need to be met and how long they have to meet those conditions. The other concerns that they had were related to vendor placement and generators and blocking storefronts with some of those events when they are held in the streets. All right, so some of the proposed staff changes, in addition to consolidating those two ordinances that we discussed, we looked at some of the best practices that cities with well-built ordinances for special events are currently using. And one of the structures that we came across was a tiered structure that categorizes events based on the size, scope of event, and the operational impact. One of the other things that will be added to this tiered structure are appropriate fees based on the size and scope of the event. That's not something that we are proposing to enact tonight. The staff suggestion is to include those fees during the regular fee review process. That way, we have time to benchmark against all of our 14 comparator cities, have an open public comment period, make sure they're advertised, and then adopt them the first of the year and make sure that any other fee changes that we have are advertised along with any changes that would impact this. All right. The other change that was discussed is, as our ordinance is currently written, only one event can be held at one given time at a certain day in the city, and so we really wanted to change that to make sure that it's based on resources available. So approval when we're reviewing these permits will be based on availability of required resources, prior event history, and timely submission of an application. So when I talk about the tier structure, here's some examples of what we mean. So minor events would be a tier 1. This is more your neighborhood block parties, community scaled events, something in a residential area that's really going to have minimal impact to city services. So when we talk about deadlines that are in place, this would have a shorter time frame. We're looking at a 21-day deadline for this because there's not a whole lot of review or resource constraint that's going to be required. It should be easy to host something like this. Tier 2 are more of our limited impact events. There'd be no road closures involved, no alcohol services, and we're looking at between 100 to 500 attendees. Tier 3 are more of your moderate impact events. These are 500 to 1,000 attendees. Road closures or parking lot closures would be allowed, but there would be some increased public safety coordination that would be involved. One thing I wanted to make note is the ordinance as submitted, currently says that no alcohol sales would be allowed. In reviewing the applications that we've seen come across the city over the last couple of years, we frequently get requests for alcohol service for this size. So in order to meet that customer demand, we'd like to adjust that here. And then for Tier 4 events, these are the larger events. These are over 1,000 attendees or multiple day events. There's alcohol service, noise waivers might be involved, there's significant road closures, and they require the highest level of city coordination. The other thing that we've seen frequently is recurring events. So this could be something that someone wants to host a summer concert series. So what we're seeing is they want to submit one application one time and then be able to host an event maybe every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the whole summer. We want to give a mechanism to do that, and if it's a similar event, it really should only cost staff minimal resource requirement. It should take minimal review time, and we can review these collectively. But we don't currently have a mechanism for that, so that's also a proposed change. One of the other changes that we had was putting some insurance requirements in place. This came up at our stakeholder meeting. At a lot of the other cities, we also found that there is liability insurance that's required when you are hosting either on city property, on public property, and you're bringing a lot of people out for an event. You need to make sure that you have appropriate liability coverage, and so this would be required for some of our larger events. All right, the ordinance will also clarify when street closures may be approved, encourage the use of parking lots and appropriate venues for smaller events. It established clear requirements for vendors, so we want to make sure that we're not blocking businesses unless you have expressed permission from the property owner to do so. It allows consideration of prior compliance history. We've repeatedly had issues with an event holder. We want to be able to take that into consideration. So because these changes are significant, we want to make sure that we're communicating this in an appropriate way and making it very easy for people to understand. So our communications team put together a special events guide that is an easier way to review these guidelines. So when you come to Killeen, you want to host an event, you have a book that shows you how to do that, how to follow the rules, and gives you kind of an expectation for how long it will take. And so this would be available on our city website as well. So there's no direct cost to adopt the ordinance tonight. Like I said, we'll bring a fee structure back to the city council with all the other fee revisions. So we do have an opportunity for public comment. And then this will hopefully help support cost recovery for police, fire, EMS, and sanitation services that we're seeing today. So with that, staff recommends approval of the ordinance as written, but I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Yes, ma'am. I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to, we followed the same procedure when it comes to availability of resources to host two events at one time?
So what would happen if we get applications for two events? We would get, they wouldn't necessarily be submitted at the same time. We'll review each application and figure out, okay, what's the resource requirement? If it's a smaller event in downtown Killeen, and then it's a run maybe at Lions Club Park. If they're in two different locations, do we have enough staff to cover what's being asked, and can we support both events? And so that's kind of how we would make those decisions.
Okay. And my next question is for Tier 2, 500 and above. And you stated that the city have areas where it could host that amount of people.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
Yes. From 100 to 500, that's when we suggest maybe some city-owned parking lots for that size of event. And we have about 8 parking lots downtown that we've identified as appropriate locations.
For Tier 2?
For Tier 2, yes, ma'am.
And my last question is the insurance required. And first of all, that's an excellent idea. But what if they cannot afford it?
So special event insurance, it's available through multiple companies on the open market. We did check because we didn't want to put something in here that's going to be cost prohibitive. And it all depends on the size and scope of your event. So you could be talking about $66 for appropriate insurance coverage to about $400. It could be more depending on the size and scope of the event. But we looked at events anywhere from, something smaller to 2,500 people.
Yes, ma'am. And also, I want to thank you and the committees that came together to put this ordinance together. I'm hoping that in the future with the city, when we make these major changes that have effect on businesses or other entities, that we come together like this and get that input. We always do it like for developers, builders, but this right here, thank you, Ms. Wilson. You went beyond. Thank you for that.
All right. Other questions?
Councilmember Cigar.
Thank you, Mayor. Just clarification, I know you mentioned alcohol. I think that was, Tier 4 or something like that? I think that's where I saw it. And are we saying we're going to allow it or not?
We'd like to allow it for Tier 3 and above. The ordinance submitted in the packet doesn't include it in Tier 3, but in looking at the events that we've seen, some of them do want to serve alcohol at above 500, so I don't want to restrict something that we're already getting requests for.
No, and that's what I'm getting at, because, we're trying to track, especially, what we did with the city with the beer. And I think that, a lot of people like that and to kind of support them, and they got another place across the street from that. So I think for certain events, I think that'd be a good idea. So, and then lastly, I know you mentioned the stakeholders, and I'm assuming a lot of the stakeholders are the downtown businesses. And how did they feel about that? Is it pretty positive? You get positive feedback from them based on that?
Yes, sir. They had a lot of really good feedback, things that we didn't even consider. Talking about the parking lots, that was really an idea that came from them. They've seen people submit applications to host events in downtown Killeen, and we want to see that too. But I think sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to have this huge event, and it may turn out to be smaller. And so there's a lot of preparation that will go down for the downtown merchants or other people in the area to make sure that they're prepared to support that event host and make sure their businesses are open. They order additional food, and that they're prepared to be supportive of the success of that event. But when it doesn't turn out to be that large event, that kind of causes an adverse reaction for them. And so having the roads still open, their ability to still hold their business operations, accept clients, accept deliveries, and not have to make those major changes because somebody's in a parking lot versus closing the downtown streets was a suggestion that came from them, and staff thinks it makes all the sense in the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, I appreciate the staff. I know that we've always said, without them, you can't really do what we do. But the main thing that the city has helped, and I hope it continues, is trying to bring traffic. Because the one thing that they need as business owners, I always said, it's that foot traffic. And congratulations, because lately, those events that we've had downtown, our Christmas, the lighting, that was amazing. That was an amazing event, our Christmas parade. So these events get better and better. If citizens, if you haven't been out there, take advantage of all these events that are being put on at our downtown. But you guys been doing our staff, the staff, wherever she's at, been doing a great job with our vendors. Thank you.
Thank you for that. They do a great job.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thanks, Mayor. And thanks for taking this and running with it. The original idea was looking at the whole city, and the input from downtown was great. One of the things that was brought to my attention also, and I think we talked about this as we were developing it, excuse me, is being able to, if the city cannot provide the service before saying no, having the option for the vendor or the requester to contract other services that we approve, of course. That the ordinance won't restrict that.
No, it gives us some flexibility to have the discussion with the applicant. There's certain cases, even for some of the smaller events, where we do allow them to hire private security. Now, we're going to have a discussion with our police department to make sure it's something they're comfortable with as well. But if they're not needed and they can be elsewhere, I'm sure they're happy to say you're welcome to hire private security. But if it's something where we feel like, hey, this may get a little out of control and needs something more substantial, we may put a condition for approval that requires public safety.
And thanks. I wanted to make sure that the
Yes,
folks
sir.
that asked me hear that. They're not here, but they're out listening, hopefully. Thank you.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you. I had a question for you. Under the ordinance as a whole, I believe, and if you could please confirm if I'm incorrect, but the protests also fall under the assemblies?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so I had a question in general as to, is there anything that would prevent us from breaking that out separately under this particular umbrella? and I'll just explain to you my concern here. So when considering regulations against protest permits, I think it still falls under all the same restrictions as like 3 days, a 3-day notice that has to be approved by city manager, I believe, if it's after hours. There's a rigorous process for approval. My concern with that is limiting the free speech and freedom of protest. I understand that we do have the right legally to regulate. But my recommendation, though, would be to separate that out specifically, provide a 24-hour notice for those provisions, and then under the reporting, instead of just the city manager alone, so should one of those protests fall under a weekend or after hours, that also this police chief, fire chief also be part of that thread of authorization or a notification under that umbrella. Can you go into a little bit more detail as far as that component is concerned under this
Yes,
chapter?
ma'am. And one of the reasons we combined all of these, and assemblies was previously combined with special events as well, but our whole intent with having this ordinance in place and having a specific permitting process is to make sure that public safety is in mind. So planning is important. And we want to make sure that people are taking the proper precautions, that we're aware of what's going on, that if road closures are involved, if officers are needed, that all of those things are taken in consideration and appropriately planned for to keep the public safe, because that's why we're here.
Of course.
But when it comes specifically to assemblies, I'll probably kick that one to Holly a little bit.
And I'm just throwing it out there as it results to something that is a minor thing that happens. As far as if there was a protest, something happens today, and we want to peacefully assemble, whether we're in a park, obviously the same restrictions apply. I'm not asking to reduce any restrictions being in roadways and things like that, but at least offering the people an opportunity for a 24-hour turnaround time is my request for that specific provision. That's really what I'm asking for.
Yes, ma'am.
A couple things. So for what you're talking about, sounds like it would come under, there is a section for emergencies, and emergency applications for special events permits say that they can be filed not less than 48 hours. So it's 48 hours is in the proposed ordinance, and that actually is not a change from what we've had. It was relocated, this section was relocated, but that has been in the ordinance all along. It's for emergency applications, 48 hours. But it does say, or as soon as reasonably practical in light of emergency conditions. So there is some room there for staff to make the determination, okay, we're going to accept it if we can get and provide for health and safety as we need to, then we can go ahead and accept that application and move it forward. But again, as Ms. Wilson was stating, the purpose of notification is to get that coordination that is needed for health and
Understood.
safety.
And then as far as the reporting right now, as it stands, can you confirm that for me on the reporting tier for the process of reporting a special event? Who gets that information? So they apply for the permit. Who gets that information? What's that process look like in the front end?
Yes, ma'am. There's several departments who get it, and some of it depends on the event, but it would go, first it's submitted to the city secretary's office, and then it's routed to multiple city departments. It's Public Works, so they can look at it for solid waste, transportation. If barricades need to be put out, it goes to police, it goes to fire. I look at it, so there's multiple departments who are involved. If there's animals, sometimes Animal Services will receive it as well.
Sure.
So there's multiple departments just based on the scope of the
So
event.
then under this particular, the way it's structured now, if it's a 48-hour window and a protest request is submitted, it falls on a Thursday or Friday, that means that we're not allowing them to peacefully assemble on a Sunday or a Saturday potentially, depending on holidays and things like that. Is that what we're saying?
Well, I mean, I defer to Holly, but I think at that point, we'd have to make it work. Is that correct?
Last part?
I said, I defer to you on that one, Holly, but I think at that point, is it 48 business hours? Is that how it worded, or is that something we just have to make work?
It's just worded 48 hours, so not business hours, but I would, just 48 straight hours. We're not
Okay.
talking about.
So I don't want to belabor a point, but I do want us to please give extra attention and thought to this, just under today's political climate. As you all know, it's always my position, just thinking of the broader scope, having a right to peacefully assemble is extremely important. So if there's something that we might do, even inadvertently, to prohibit that, I want to make sure that we don't cross that line, but that we do have a provision in place just in case something like that were to happen. So I would like for us to just make sure that we encompass that or figure out how there is a flex in the event something like that were to happen.
So you
something
certainly
to
don't
think
want to
about.
add the word business to that, where it's 48 business hours. You'd rather keep it at 48 hours?
And then, yes, ma'am, and then emergency, I would feel that, I think the reporting right now falls on after hours is city manager's determination for a special circumstance. But I think, I don't know, I mean, I think it would be befitting, though, if it was city manager as well as fire and police, because they would also be a part of that decision-making process. And I think they should be incorporated in that, in the event city manager's not available. But that's just a thought.
Mr. Kagan?
I would say most of those instances, people just do it.
Right.
They don't ask, and usually it's not an issue. If 50 people are getting together at Long Branch Park.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if it's 5,000 people marching down W.S. Young, that's
Yes,
a
sir.
different story. But I think we've had a number of small impromptu gatherings.
Thank you for
that-
saying that, because
Yeah.
there was concern, and that's the only reason I brought it up, is that there was concern that this would then put that restriction in the event that there was an emergency situation where they wanted to peacefully assemble under those circumstances. So thank you for that.
If I could add one more thing, is that this ordinance only applies to 25 or more persons.
Councilwoman Cobb, thank you, Mr. Cagle, and thank you, Attorney Clemens, for your comments. Councilwoman Cobb, would you like to say anything, or are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm glad that we do have in reference to guide us on our assemblies and our parades. So I'm okay with it. It's just making sure that we understand and that we include everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Any other council members? All right, thank you.
All right. Well,
Thank
Council, I
you.
would like to thank City Secretary's office for their assistance in putting this ordinance together, doing some benchmarking for us, checking to make sure that we're following best practices and all the research that went involved. So special thanks to them and all the staff that helped with this.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all for working together. Thank you. With that being said, citizen comments.
Madam Mayor.
Oh, we have one more? Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
yes,
Just
Mr.
one more
Dudley.
ordinance for our work session.
Yes, ma'am.
It's Mr. Dudley's item. OR 26003, consider an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Solid Waste Collection and Disposal Services.
Thank you. I apologize for that, Mr. Dudley. I was so happy.
It's all good.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon again. Before you again, I have the Solid Waste Ordinance Amendment. Okay, a little bit of background. In FY 2025, there were some new fees added to the fee schedule to assist with offsetting the cost of disposal and transportation of these items. There are addition of sections 2449, container relocation, section 2475, commercial premium service, section 2485, prohibited materials, and section 24110, mattresses and box springs. Updating the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 24, solid waste collection services is necessary to provide details of the additional fees, as well as making various grammatical edits throughout the ordinance to ensure clarity and provide a document to the citizens of Killeen that is thorough and concise. All right, on this first slide right here, I got section 2449, which is the container relocation. There is a fee assessed to this one. It is a $10 fee. It is to ensure the safe and efficient collection of waste when servicing residential containers. The container relocation fee regulates the proper placement of containers on a scheduled service day. Looking at this slide right here, you can see the correct placement versus the incorrect placement. In the correct placement, you can see the cans there 4 feet from within another, as well as in the other picture, you can see that the container is 4 feet from within an object. That object can be anything. It could be a car, basketball goal, telephone pole, excess trash that we pick up along with bulk as well. In the other photo, you can see the incorrect placement. Now, this is what my team sees when they're out there on a regular basis. And this is part of the reason we put the container relocation fee in play. I think it's worth mentioning that benchmark cities, they do have automated systems just like we do. They'll come up to a situation like this, they won't service it. If a container is overloaded, they won't service it. If containers have excess trash on side of it, it stays on the ground. However, the City of Killeen Solid Waste, we provide customer service that's second to none. So we make sure that we provide those things. So again, we have two reasons we put the container relocation fee in play. One is to create a standard for the solid waste department as well as the citizens of Killeen and create efficiencies for ourselves. The next one here I have is $24.75, which is premium service, commercial. There's a fee attached to this too as well. It is $75. The premium service fee is designed to recover additional expenses and balance the demand of same-day service with the costs incurred on non-collection days. Same-day service includes trucks that deviate from their designated routes, additional fuel costs, possibility of longer routes, longer work hours, additional trips to the transfer station, and higher disposal weights. This section I have right here is $24.85, which is the prohibited items recycling. There's no fee attached to this at all. This is for informational purposes only, and as well to provide clarity of what materials are not accepted at the Killeen Recycling Center or at the recycling trailers to improve public understanding and to reduce the contamination rates in our recycling loads and promote a safer and more efficient recycling operations. Here in this chart, you'll see all the things that are not accepted. Plastics 3 through 7, plastic bags, automotive glass, fuel, gas and diesel, paints, chemicals, organic materials, and styrofoams. I think it's also worth mentioning that when it comes to this recycling deal, when you have one of those things or any other things inside these inside our recycling bins, what ends up happening is that turns into a contamination load. So it goes from being recyclable to trash. And what we end up having to do is transport that to the transfer station, put that on the transfer station tipping floor, and it raises our rates up for transportation and disposal. A little bit more background, we have section 24.110 mattresses and box springs. There is a fee attached to this one too as well, and it is $20. And it's to implement the procedure of disposing and transporting mattresses and box springs. Residential customers with utility bills showing solid waste services. Disposal fees are based solely on the weight of the items, regardless of the size or quantity. But when it comes to the non-residents and commercial entities and businesses alike, the fee structure includes a charge based on the weight plus additional processing fee for each item. Please note that all commercial fees apply starting with twin-size mattresses. And in this slide too as well, on the images, you can see a customer coming across the scale with the mattresses, as well as seeing the mattresses on the tipping floor. Now, the process for us over here at the transfer station, what we do, we only implement 3 to 4 mattresses in a load at a time. Why? Because it's very hard and cumbersome to compact. It's air, it takes up space, it's a lot of volume and not weight. The one thing that we concentrate on at the transfer station, when we're shipping our 53-foot trailers from the transfer station to Waste Management Landfill, we try to get our bang for our buck. So we try to get 21 tons per load. So we do pay a flat rate for the transportation of these trailers. Now, if you send it out at 15 tons or 21 tons, it's going to be the same price. So we try to get our bang for our buck. So it's important for us to actually strategically put the mattresses in there 3 to 4 at a time. Staff recommends that City Council approve the ordinance amending Chapter 24, Solid Waste, the Code of Ordinances, and to provide a concise document for all residential and commercial customers. I'm here for any questions you may have.
Mr. Dudley, thank you for a thorough presentation, but you stated 3 different fees. Would you please just repeat them again and say why? Because you had a lot of information to cover. You did a great job, but the residents would know and our audience would know what they're for. I know it's 10, 75. And
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Section 2475, commercial premium service, that is the $75 fee. And we also have section 2449, which is the container location fee. That's when we have to get out of the vehicle and actually relocate the container to service it. And we have the 24.110 mattresses and box springs. That's a $20 service, and it's not a service to the citizens of Killeen. It's just for non-residents, businesses, and commercial businesses.
And did you say what the $75? I know you said it earlier, but you
Yeah,
said
that's,
it again.
that's for commercial, when we have to leave off our route and go and service another dumpster at another location.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Great.
we call that
Excellent.
STEM time.
STEM time?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor.
All right. Great. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I have been asked constantly by constituents, could they have a extra day on those recycle days to get those things done? Would you consider that? And no fee, with no fee?
You say for recycle?
Yeah, for those items that you're speaking of, those garbage pickup days. They're saying that they need more days than the one day that they have.
For trash services, you mean?
Yes, sir.
When it comes to the commercial aspect of it, a lot of commercial companies, they have several days that they get picked up. My front load commercial team, we actually pick up 6 days a week, and we have multiple people that go 6 days a week. We have some
Oh,
people.
wow, that answers my question.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That answers my question.
Okay, all right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilwoman Cobb. Councilmember Cigar, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. And if I'm a resident and I get a bill on my water bill for $10 extra, you know what my first response is going to be, right?
Absolutely.
It's going to say, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. So are we taking pictures of it, or are we showing proof, or how are we going back and saying, yeah, you did this?
Absolutely. We have a system that we call Routeware. We do capture all pictures. We take pictures before and after everything that we do, so we can supply that. Now, however, if it's a situation where we can't provide the proof, the pictures of that, the service that was done, then we'll come back over there free of charge and take care of it.
All right.
Or if that's the case,
How-
we would credit that customer.
And this is getting a little bit crazy here, but, you know, the guy in the truck that's doing those automatic pickups, so he has a camera, or the truck has a camera?
We have cameras outfitted on the trucks, on
Oh,
all our
okay.
trucks.
Well, that's easy, because, yeah, I was thinking, I don't, hope he's not getting out of the truck, taking a picture of.
No.
That's good. That's a good explanation, so people know that, you know, there's cameras on these trucks. So,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thanks, Mayor. I know some of these we approved on the fee structure that was put out last spring. This
Yeah.
is just to update the.
Yeah, it was just to update the one for the mattress fee. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was to update them.
And then on the cameras, and your supervisor's right, because I see them, because they come out and put the tag on the truck, on the dumpster sometimes when it's not appropriate or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, it just depends on what the situation is. We'll tag the customer. That's a courtesy to let them know, hey, we need you to do such and such. If not, next time we come over, it's going to be a charge for it. So we always do provide a courtesy for them.
And it's something I spoke to Mr. Reynolds about before. We have a few unfortunate evictions that happen.
Yes.
And sometimes it might be 3 or 4. We're making, and sometimes I know we have a set time for how long the mattresses or junk sit out there. And it may not be for this, maybe something we come back with later. But we're charging them when we come.
Yeah, absolutely. If we come out there to service it, we will charge them.
Got it. And the last, because this is information, I know we sent stuff in the past in the water bill, and then I've seen with the other departments, are we gonna do another public information push so people?
Yeah, that's too easy.
Yeah, thanks.
We'll make sure that happens.
That's a doctrinal term in the military, too easy.
It is.
Thank you.
Council-
That's all I have.
Councilmember Kendrick.
Yes, pretty much a lot of my questions was answered. But I also know when you say they have to get out and move the trash cans, I've actually seen that happen. So that is the one where they get that $25 charge, correct? If they have to move, say for instance, if it's next to something and they can't grab the trash can, or we have citizens that have a whole lot of cars and they have to readjust the trash can to where they can pick up the trash can to pick up the trash.
Yeah,
So does that fall in the realm of that?
Yeah, it does, but it's a $10 charge. It's a container
10,
relocation
okay,
fee. It's two-way deal. It helps us too as well. It helps bring our accidents down and make our
Yes.
guys intentionally get out of the vehicle and move the cans where they are. And it has helped out a lot because our accident rates are 90% below they was from last year at this time, so, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So it is helping twofold.
Yes, sir. That's all the questions I have.
So I have one last question, and it's about the Christmas holiday,
Mm-hmm.
because we be in overflow with gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a pass on that day?
Yeah, I think we passed that. We passed that day,
Okay,
but
we
we do pick up excess trash, excess Christmas boxes, wrapping paper, and everything for free.
And that's
that
the
week.
day after
It's the day
Christmas.
after Christmas. Yes, yes.
What if my day don't fall till next week? That still counts,
It
right?
still counts.
Okay, because I'm,
Yeah.
okay. All right. I apologize for that.
Good.
Great job. Any other questions? Councilwoman Cobb, you okay? You good?
Good.
All right. Thank you once
Thank you.
again, Mr. Dudley.
Thank
Your team, Waste Management, goes beyond. Thank you, thank you. All right, now we can get into citizen comments. Citizen comments, Mr. Michael Fornino, you have 3 minutes. Good afternoon, sir.
The meeting was called to order, that's on the agenda, and I question the validity of that action. Certainly capable of question. I sent you folks an email on 20 December. Not one council member nor the city attorney was part of that email, bothered to respond or even acknowledge receipt of that email. So Chapter 87 of the Local Government Code applies to all of you here, as cited in that email. So here now, on the record, I publicly question my council representative for District 3's ability to properly and effectively execute her oath of office and
Sir,
represent me.
excuse me.
I'm sorry, this is,
Sir,
I question whether this is on, no.
You wasting your time. Stop the
No, you're
clock,
wasting
Madam
my time.
Secretary. Madam City Attorney, is that discussion about an email about a city council member on the current agenda?
I question the
No, I do
validity.
not see that on the agenda, just because there's a call to order. Citizen comments is for the public to address council regarding an item that's on the agenda for council's consideration,
An item that is on the agenda.
for your consideration.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Madam Secretary, you can start the clock again.
Well then, I question my council member's ability to debate actively and be present for all of these, to where I can see and engage with her before, during, and after the meeting.
Sir, that is
on that.
not on the agenda.
Yes, it is on the agenda. I need, okay, let's go on the garbage. Let's go on the right to assembly, et cetera. I would like to see her ability in person, right, her own health crisis that she herself announced. Makes me doubt I'm not represented. You don't answer emails, you don't have town halls, so
Sir,
I
that
can't
is
question
not on
you.
the agenda. Would you please stick to the agenda?
I am on the agenda because I can't address directly, and you won't address an obvious problem with my representation. It's not an entitlement, it's representation that I'm not getting. Not from you, not from her, and not any of you. You say, don't bring this to the lectern? Well, how about you grow a spine and actually answer my emails or have a sit-down? You don't have the courage. You never have, and you never will.
Sir, you are not on the agenda.
I am on the agenda. I have an unfit council member who can barely articulate a sentence anymore.
Sir,
and is
once
reduced to
again,
hand
the
gestures.
city attorney has stated that you're not on the
Madam
agenda.
Mayor, so help me Christ, you keep this up, I'm gonna be at the
Please
DA's
stay
office tomorrow
with
morning.
me and
I already
get on
discussed
the
this with the Mayor
agenda.
Pro Tem.
Well,
And he
that's
said that I have
between
the right
you
to
and the
speak
mayor
on
pro
this.
tem, but the city attorney just stated you're not on the agenda.
And you're going to take her advice, I mean, when it comes to legal matters. Chapter 87, it's state law. I provided you with a copy of it, Madam City Attorney. You should have had plenty of time to review it. I don't have to go to law school to be able to read the law. I know it's illegal to commit murder. I know it's illegal to go out in the streets and beat people up. I don't have to go to law school for that. I can read. I can articulate. And you yourself won't even sit down and talk to me because you know that you'll get wrapped around the axle in an intellectual discussion. Where is my city council representative? Keyword on that. Can she, will she give lengthy debate on any of the agenda items? No. There's an
Madam-
obvious problem, and it needs to be examined and looked at. If you don't, there are people above you who will.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up. Mr. Leo Gukaisen, you have
Ma'am,
3 minutes, sir.
Mayor, can I
Ma'am, you out of
respond to
order.
that? Yes, ma'am.
Miss Leo Gukaisen, he's not here. Mrs. Everett Gwendon.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Councilwoman Cobb, could you turn your mic off until we finish with citizen comments and I come back to you, ma'am? We can hear you. Good afternoon, ma'am, I apologize for
No
that.
problem.
Good
Thank you so
afternoon,
much.
you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Council. My name is Gwendolyn Everett, and I'm here in order to give my support for the Killeen Children's Museum and Immersion Center. Early literacy is one of the most effective investments a city can make. Children who are exposed early to language-rich, interactive learning environments show stronger academic performance, higher graduation rates, and better long-term outcomes. Literacy is not just about reading, it's about curiosity, confidence, and belonging. Cities across the country are already seeing the impact of this approach. The Children's Museum of Houston draws families from across Texas and beyond, serving as both an educational hub and a tourism attraction. In El Paso, the Children's Museum was designed as a regional destination, helping revitalize downtown while providing immersive learning for children. And in Denver, the Children's Museum has become a cornerstone for families to engage and repeated visitations. Nationally, the museums contribute billions of dollars to local economies through tourism, job creation, and increased activity for nearby businesses. For Killeen, a children's museum connected to our public library would strengthen early literacy and family engagement, create a destination for families from surrounding cities and Fort Cavazos, signal that Killeen is a city interested in its future, not just reacting to growth. Killeen is uniquely positioned to become a family destination for Central Texas, and this project allows us to serve our children while inviting others to experience our city. This is more than a building. It's an investment in our children, families, and the long-term vitality of our city. Thank you for your time and your service.
Melissa Brown, good afternoon, you have 3 minutes.
Financial priorities, we are taking out a limited tax note for life-saving gear for our fire department. Temple and Nolanville already have children's museums. Where should our financial priorities lie? Assembly includes expressive or associative activities protected by law, but not commercial advertising, revenue-generating activities, fundraising, or parades. Special event means a planned public gathering, assembly, or demonstration, an event conducted without a required special event permit, can be suspended or shut down by city personnel in the interest of public safety. We do not define who these city personnel would be or what is construed as a public safety reason. Shall be unlawful for a person to engage in, participate in, aid, form, organize, or start in the conduct of any special event or assembly that requires a permit if they don't have one. You want people to have a insurance policy to have a protest, something I am constitutionally allowed to have, and I have to get insurance for it. A city manager or designee may reclassify an event to a higher tier when public safety, prior event history, or resource impacts become factors. But that is very subjective, isn't it? Emergency applications still have to be submitted 48 hours in advance. And what constitutes an emergency? Well, urgent civil concerns exist. Who determines what is an urgent civil concern? Again, that's very subjective. The ACLU of Texas says that you don't need a permit to march in the streets or on a sidewalk as long as marchers don't obstruct cars or pedestrian traffic. You don't have to have a permit. Police officers can ask you to move to the side of a street or a sidewalk to let others pass for safety reasons. Even with the insurance, the city manager can determine that you need more insurance than what is actually listed in the code. Law enforcement and authorized city personnel are empowered to enforce compliance and also to order immediate cessation of activities if they feel that the persons are not in compliance. Who are these authorized persons? I don't have a whole lot of time, but for the purpose of Chapter 20, do school organizations qualify as bona fide charitable or philanthropic organizations? Is Routeware actually on and working on all vehicles now? Eviction pickup is...
Thank you, ma'am.
May I
Your
please have
time is up.
one more minute, council?
Councilmember Alvarez, Councilmember Solomon, Councilmember Gonzalez, Councilmember Kendrick, no, Councilmember Sagara, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm sorry, I can't understand you. All right, you have the votes. You have 1 minute. Madam Secretary.
Is Routeware installed in and working on all of our pickups, our vehicles now for solid waste? An eviction pickup is expressly explained in the proposed revisions to the ordinance. The concern is that if it is not paid at one address and that owner or property manager owns multiple addresses, it will automatically be billed to a different account owned by that same person. In multifamily dwellings, you're having the concern of taking the expense from one location, putting it onto people who live at a different one, which could end up affecting their billing for the month. It really needs to stay with the location or an individual owner at that location until it's transferred. And I know that the city has ways of going through collection other than putting the bills on a different property. You can have containers that are 4 feet away from all objects and still be in a place where they are not be able to be safely collected. And I would say that none of these, why are we codifying
Thank you, ma'am. Your
that
time is up.
the
Mr.
transfer center
Gregory
is
Moore,
closed
good
before
afternoon,
Saturday?
sir. You have 3 minutes. Mr. Gregory Moore. Ms. Porter, good afternoon, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. Greetings, Madam Mayor and esteemed council members. I am here speaking in support of the notion, the idea, the creation of the Killeen Children's Museum and Immersion Center in conjunction with the Children's Public Library. I was shocked to no end to find that public broadcasting is no longer going to be funded after 88 years. So I'm thinking that we really need to look at being creative and thinking out of the box in terms of providing our children resources right here within hand's reach that can serve them and nurture them. I mean, what's a life without Sesame Street going to be like? I don't know. But I believe it's significant to note that our children's activities, their minds, what constitutes fun, has been replaced by handheld devices, games and gaming that's played by oneself. There's no human contact. Social media, Google, Wikipedia, these are the spaces, not places. These are spaces that our children go for information. And AI is in effectively putting creativity on the back burner. Here's what Killeen's Children's Museum and Immersion Center, in conjunction with our Children's Public Library, can do. It can make our children great again. Oh, yeah. Can we use that phrase in relation to our children, the future? Let's provide an alternative to software usernames and passwords. Let's provide a destination where our children walk upright and look forward with their eyes before them, able to see what's around them because they're in a space, they're in a place that is scintillating their senses, that's stimulating their ideas, creating ideas in their head. And then they take those ideas and after going to McDonald's and rushing down, eating their French fries and saying, let's go, mommy, let's go, they go to the library and get a book that they hold in their hands, that they share with their big brother, their little sister, their neighbor. And they say, look at this. They trace out pictures. They do this mental thing, people. And Disney World is a great destination, I'm sure, but offhand, I think it's a headache. I think the Children's Museum, the Killeen Children's Museum and Immersion Center here in our city would be a great destination to go right down the road from you. And I'd like to close with something a little bit light. There's been a lot of tension today. It's the words of a PSA entitled Book People Unite. This PSA goes, imagine what could be. Imagine what we'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now. I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. Reading is fundamental. Thank you. No charge.
Larry Robinson. Charles Shores. Good afternoon, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. I would like to applaud you, city council members, for even considering naming this street, or renaming the street after Betty Ann McLaurin. She loved this city. I'm sure a lot of you knew her, and she did great things for the city. We used to be in the choir together, in fact, in church, and we would decorate the church together. But anyway, she was someone that had such a great heart. And like I said, again, she loved this city. She would try to get women that were on the streets off the streets. She did a lot of things for Jesus Hope and Love Church and even churches in general. Again, I would like to say I was going to keep it short, but I applaud you that you're even considering in doing this. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Candice Cooper. Candice Cooper. Tyrone McLaurin. Tyrone?
I'm Charles Shores.
Okay, who was that you just spoke? What's that?
You had called a Larry Robinson, Mayor?
Oh, Mr. Robinson? Okay, you're Larry Robinson. Okay. He didn't move. Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, come on up.
Not trying to be in trouble, believe me.
No, sir. He didn't move, and I just didn't know that was him. Okay, thank you, sir.
Amen. Mayor, council.
Sir?
I just want to say a few words about the whole movement to rename a street in honor of Miss Betty McLaurin. Again, what a wonderful woman. There's so many different things that she did behind the scenes, never asking for anything. It was never about acknowledgement, but it was always about raising people up. And I say that on a personal level because back in 2016, my family experienced the worst ever. We lost our youngest child to a murder-suicide right here in Killeen. And the McLaurin family just wrapped themselves around us. By the grace of God, we've been blessed to still be totally connected. I will say to anyone, they are not friends, they're family. But I will tell you that on a personal level, there's nothing Miss McLaurin wouldn't do to help anyone in here. She never met a stranger, and there was never any task that was too big for her. And to see her, she was small in stature, but she was huge. She was so huge. To go down the street and see the Boys and Girls Club, which honors the McLaurin name. I remember talking to her one day about an issue and asking her, would you come out and speak to these young girls? Not a problem, she did it. Again, to rename a street in her honor, what it means to me and what it would mean to this community. So when little kids look up and they say, well, who was that? 20 years, 30 years down the road, we can still tell about the things that she did and what she meant then to this community and what the McLaurin name and family still means to this community today. So I ask that when that time comes, please, with an open mind and an open heart, make the right decision and make the right choice and name a street in her honor. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. You and Mr. Robinson. Mr. McLaurin. Good afternoon, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, and to the council as a whole. I come here today to advocate for the renaming in honor of my late wife, Betty McLaurin. So those that have spoke before me and those going to speak after me, it's still hard today, I'm sorry, to relate to someone who was so inspirational, not only in my family life, but the life of so many. I can put numbers behind what from a business owner, from a philanthropist, but more than that, she was a mother, a grandmother, and a warrior. She was a former war fighter. And I happen to go back and I look back at what we have always done from a standpoint of our heart, of how we gave back to, with a lot of inspiration from her, to this community that she loved so much. And I can look back over the last almost 10 years of our giving from a philanthropist. It was total close to $5.2 million in giving to nonprofit organizations like the youth of this community, churches, other nonprofit scholarships. This is not something I'm doing from a political standpoint. This is something I'm doing from a heart of a legacy. To lose someone in this community is a great loss, especially so much have been given by so many. But I'm here to advocate on behalf of someone that I knew personally that started a business in our backyard and moved it into the downtown and invested so much into this community that we love. So I ask you as the council to take this under consideration. I truly appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak on our behalf. And I just want you to think about how we move forward as a community together, not separated by political ambitions, but how we can, as she said, give a hand up, not a hand out. And her motto to all kids you speak to is make good choices. So we're here to continue to make those good choices, and we ask you for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn Duggar, good afternoon, ma'am. You have 3 minutes. I guess I was going to slide that on in there, right? No.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor
Good
and City
afternoon.
Council. Thank you for your service and making a difference.
Yes, ma'am.
I am speaking as an educator of 46 years in Colina ISD, and my husband went to school in this building. I'm speaking for the Children's Museum and the Immersion Center. As I follow the lady that spoke about the books, when I was a young principal, I asked, if a child owned their own book, would it make a difference in their life? So we purchased books for all the students of my school and had the author come to the school and sign the books. And these books made a huge difference in the children's lives. I am now the principal at Hay Branch Elementary School and came back, and the first year I brought that same author, Susan Stevens Crummell, to the school and got books for the children so that they could experience books for themselves. Could they achieve? Could they achieve? If we provide the children with these experiences of the museum and learn the history and have interaction in the community. It makes a huge difference, not just with the children's success, where their futures are unlimited. It makes a difference with their parents. It makes a difference in the entire community. We need these activities here for our children in our town so that they can have access to these wonderful activities, hands-on, building relationships, learning about books, owning the memories, and the extension. I ask you for your consideration and support, and I thank you because it makes a true, true difference in the lives of the children in our community. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for your service in education. Thank you. I guess the next person really don't need an introduction, Mr. Calvin. Good afternoon, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam
Good
Mayor,
afternoon, sir.
City Council. I just want to take a few minutes to speak. First of all, it's an honor and a privilege to be in front of you to speak about a great person. I've been working for Boys and Girls Club for over 25 years, and I have met a lot of amazing people. But I must say Miss Betty Ann McLaurin Boyd was a very special person. I stand before you today to talk about a legacy. It's not about the streets. It's not about the buildings that were happening in Killeen. It's about her legacy. And I know for a fact that she's looking down on today as we stand in this council with joy and happiness on her, knowing that the consideration that y'all are considering naming the street. She's did so many great things behind the scenes. The last words I had with her is when she came and registered one of her grandkids at the club, and she looked at me and she said, Mr. Calvin, I want to make sure that all of my kids and grandkids get a chance to experience Boys and Girls Club. Man, I tell you, that touched me so deeply for her to say that to me. 2 streets or 3 or 4 blocks up the street, we have a building, the McLaurin Boyd Clubhouse. They have been so great to the Boys and Girls Club. We probably wouldn't be where we're at today if it hadn't been for the McLaurin Boyd, the family, and the things that she's done. She has touched so many lives, and I know that for a fact, okay? Just being acquainted with her, go back from football. That's Ms. Gonzalez used to be a coach, and Anthony Kendrick, I know quite a few of you all, and as well as you, Madam Mayor. But again, I think it's a great honor for you to consider this. And again, it's about her legacy. She was a wonderful person. And again, like I said, I know for a fact that she's looking down on us today and with a smile on her face, knowing that this is being considered. And I ask that you open your heart, okay, and bless her with this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And last but not least, Ms. Sandra Minor. Good afternoon, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak before you. And can y'all hear me? Oh, okay, because I was like, okay. You can't hear me? Oh, well, you don't need to hear me anyway. Huh? Like this? I'm good? Okay. I'm here on behalf of the museum as well. Very short and brief. There was once upon a time in history, we wasn't even allowed a book. But today we are allowed books. We have kids who take their life via AI. But we have kids who use books to grow and prosper. So I think the museum would be another way of connecting and bringing back the library to life at a higher level than it is now. The library is almost silent. And maybe the museum would bring things that would be placed in there of interest to teach the children the power of a book. I got on this here little wagon at the end, but I did some questioning, and I asked, why do we need this? What will it bring to the community? And you guys, everyone up here know my heart and my passion for children. And so my main thing is, will it make a growth in the community for the children? Will it make a growth in the community for a parent-child relationship? And I believe it will. So I think that is, to me, the piece that I would like to think would be a positive for the city. The end. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Citizen comments are closed now. We will now go into our regular session. Madam Secretary, consent agenda. Council, if you need to take a break. Madam Secretary, do you need to take a break?
I'm fine, Mayor. Thank you for asking.
Okay. All right. Council, you can, if you need to step out and come back in, you may. We're ready.
Yes, ma'am. MN 26001, MN 26002, MN 26003, RS 26001, RS 26002, RS 26003, RS 26004, RS 26005, RS 26006, RS 26007, RS 26008, RS 26009, RS 26010, RS 26011, RS 26012, OR 26001. The caption of the ordinance reads, "An ordinance amending Chapter 20, Article 2, itinerant peddlers, merchants, etc., of the City of Colleen's Code of Ordinances, amending regulations related to itinerant vendors, providing a repealer clause, providing for a severability clause, providing for a savings clause, providing for publication and an effective date." OR 26002. The caption of the ordinance reads, "An ordinance amending Chapter 25, Article 5, Parades and Assemblies, and repealing Chapter 5, Article 4, Shows, etc., of the City of Colleen's Code of Ordinances, amending regulations for special events, providing a repealer clause, providing for a severability clause, providing for a savings clause, providing for publication and an effective date." And OR 26003, the caption of the ordinance reads, "An ordinance amending Chapter 24, Solid Waste of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Killeen, Texas, by including disposal regulations concerning mattresses and box springs, creating a premium collection service, and defining prohibited materials at the recycling center, providing for the repeal of conflicting provisions, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing for publication and an effective date."
Thank you. Councilmember Alvarez.
Mayor, I was going to move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Councilmember Sagara.
Mayor, I second that.
If there's no comments, all in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Councilwoman Gonzalez, is that a yes or no? Cobb. Councilwoman Cobb.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Motion carries 7-0. Madam Secretary, whenever you're ready, discussion items.
DS 2600001, Killeen Children's Museum and Immersion Center Initiative.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam. I want to first thank the council for allowing this initiative to come forward so that we can discuss this potential option. So tonight, we're not talking about a building. We're talking about whether the city is willing to change the trajectory of a child's future before the gap becomes permanent. So what if we stopped asking whether our children are ready for school and started asking whether we are ready for our children? Did you know that in Texas, nearly 50% of kindergartners are not on track to be reading at grade level by the 3rd grade? A milestone that research tells us can define academic success for a lifetime. This is not a failure of families or schools. It's a signal and a call for communities to step in earlier, stronger, and together. Now, the Children's Museum and Immersion Center, combined with the Children's Public Library, gives us that chance. Killeen's 2040 Comprehensive Plan emphasizes it's our shared responsibility to establish a positive culture and environment that people want to be a part of, a culture where families and children have safe, inspiring places to learn and play together. A children's museum and immersion center would be a community-building hub, encouraging experiences that bring families together, reinforce Killeen as a city where children are valued, supported, and empowered to explore. Now, this proposal is not yet a project, but a strategic direction worth exploring. By partnering with our school district, ideally, we can support pre-K through second grade learners where it matters most, through storytelling, play, hands-on exploration, and literacy-rich experiences that make learning joyful instead of intimidating. The facility will grow with our children, serving not only early learners, but also young people up to the age of 15, offering age-appropriate STEAM exploration, project-based learning, mentorship opportunities, and creative spaces that keep older students engaged, curious, and connected to learning outside of the classroom. This kind of space does more than teach children to read. It helps families connect, builds confidence, and transforms learning from an obligation into an adventure. Today, we have an opportunity to build not just a building, but a bridge between home and school, struggle and success, and where our children know that there's a place that they can go from here. An integrated museum learning with public library services can help our city by removing potential cost of transportation barriers, keep connections with underserved neighborhoods, create inclusive programming for children of all abilities. And these museums have been proven to be economic drivers. They attract visitors, support local businesses, create jobs, and enhance the city's reputation as a family-friendly destination. Killeen is at a pivotal moment right now, and I want us to think about that because our growth, demographic trends, and educational needs are converging. I'm so thankful that the state of Texas is now recognizing that fact and that our governor has allocated over $8.5 billion to improve Texas education. Exploring this opportunity now allows us to plan proactively rather than reactively. I'd like to get another minute if possible, council.
Yes.
Thank you. Also, it allows us to leverage public-private partnerships, secure grants and philanthropic investments, and interest where youth development is high right now. So the question is no longer, should we do this? Why should we do this? It's, can we afford not to do this? There are several grant opportunities that are available through the state of Texas right now, and I think it would behoove us to research that and look at this opportunity as, again, a public-private partnership for our citizens. This is not about building something new for the sake of it. It's about strengthening what already exists. So I invite you guys to please move forward with me from imagination to intention to explore how a children's museum and immersion center partnered with the Children's Public Library and our school district can become a powerful, practical solution for our families, schools, and for our city. Thank you all.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Gonzalez, for the presentation. And you and I have spoken briefly about this before. I think it's absolutely a great idea and initiative, and it definitely serves a need here in our community. I guess, my initial questions, and we briefly spoke about this before, is you mentioned public-private partnerships, so figuring out what that really looks like. What does the private side of this look like? Do you have, is there donors in mind? Is there financing behind the project from the private component part of it? And also, what do you envision the nonprofit or the entity that's going to be stood up, that's going to be responsible for the day-to-day operations and maintenance of the facility? Like, have we gotten to that point yet, or is this still kind of, not quite there yet?
Thank you for that question. So again, just remember this is not yet a project, but a strategic conversation worth exploring. And so, but with that said, yes. So 4.5 years ago, before I was even on council, I always talk about my charge that my citizens gave me when I was coming on board. This was actually one of those projects that was a larger scale that we knew was going to take time. So yes, to answer your question on the private side, there are a group of citizens who are willing to form what they're calling a legacy society that would be the founding donors to kick off the initial support for this. Obviously, then ideally we'd have support, I would hope and pray, from our local school district, and then of course with the city. But yes, sir, to answer your question, there are private people that are available right now that are ready to start that legacy society for us, for our kids. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I just,
And then you asked about the 501c3, so about the entity that would run it. So we're not there yet, but ultimately it would be an outside agency, not the city of Killeen, is how I envision this. Again, I'm not the full brainchild of this, but obviously we would have to work in conjunction with our city staff and community development director, library services director, in conjunction with Killeen ISD. So there would have to be ultimately something stood up. I envision it. I would love to see it, a combination with council representation on a board or committee of this entity, along with a representative from the district and then from the community as well. But we're not there yet, but that's how I would like to see it.
so what do you believe the next step should be? Is there like a meeting of all these entities that need to happen, or where do you?
My request of the council, and thank you again for that question. My request of the council, if you all are in support, if you're in support of this initiative, my request is that the council accepts and that we accept a motion of direction that we direct the staff to develop a coordinated plan of action to advance the exploration of the Children's Museum and Immersion Center integrated with the Children's Public Library through public-private partnership. This plan of action shall be established in a phased 2 to 5 year roadmap. The reason I put that time specific in there is because there is funding currently available, thanks to the state of Texas, thanks to our governor. HB2 has been written that we could allocate or potentially tap into to help expedite this project. Also identify potential sites with an emphasis ideally on District 1, outline partnership roles, governance structures, funding strategies, and programs aligned with early childhood literacy and immersive learning. Also identify grant and philanthropic opportunities to support this effort. The staff should return to City Council with a preliminary report and recommendation for framework around June of '26. Now, this is not something I just pulled out of the air. I've, again, have been having conversations for over 4 years about this project, and so I do feel that that is reasonable, but I would obviously take the staff recommendation if there's anything else, but that would be my request.
Councilmember Segar.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think it's a great idea, so I'm very supportive of that. My question is, because you mentioned no building or anything like that, so are we able to use the library? Is that an idea? I know we're very early in the steps, but are we looking at the library downtown, maybe using that as a building?
So thank you for that question. So there's, right now, the library's going through strategic planning, so there's some ideas and concepts about adult learning and other things that the library can do to enhance and grow. The idea is pulling out separately the children's library section and incorporating it now into this idea to enhance the children's library section, not closing our main library. It would just be focused more on adult learning in different areas within our community. Now, we had a unique opportunity with our bond potentially. There was conversation about could this building, if the bond had gone through, could we have used this and turned this into our something that we could use for the future? Are there other city buildings that we could utilize for a space such as this? And then the unique opportunity presented itself when the city, Killeen ISD, the unfortunate challenges that they're experiencing as an ISD opened up a window of opportunity, though, for some of our local stakeholders to want to explore this again about possibly utilizing those buildings to prevent a blight in our community. So we could, there's a lot of possibilities here. That's why we really want to explore them and see. And the reason, again, I put that phased approach in is because of the funding that our governor and our local representative, Buckley wrote an HB2, and this $8.5 billion funding that's potentially available that we could tap into to help us expedite.
I think it's a good cause, obviously, you know, with our children and stuff like that. But the other aspect, I mean, there's a lot of organizations that I think would love to support some. I know a lot of us here, you know, we're in the Rotary Club, and we do the library at one of the schools, the literacy library. And so those are opportunities to explore with the many organizations here that probably would love an opportunity to tag on to something like that.
There's a very big interest across the community over the last couple of years, and so that's my hope, is that we keep that momentum going, and then eventually, once we're at that level, to bring forth the community to have those conversations.
All right.
Thank you for that. My only concern, Councilwoman Gonzalez, thank you for bringing that to us. I am 100% for our youth, the library, but my main concern is if you get all nonprofits, or if you get grants that could pay for it, I'm okay with that. But if the city has to put in money, that's my problem. We got a homeless shelter that has not been built. Would a resident in District 1 prefer a museum and a library over a grocery store? That's my concern. We have a library downtown. Instead of allowing it to die, why don't we incorporate what you want inside that library? Now, the museum, that would be a challenge. I can take that. But when it comes to the priority of the budget, I can honestly say for District 1 at this time and for the city of Killeen as a whole, I'm not going to even get into infrastructure and Rosa Herford and District 1. I'm not going to even get there. That is a great idea, and I like the phase 2 to 5 years. And even if staff come back with a plan from June to, in June this year, I do understand some residents want it. And if you, just my opinion only, not council, when it comes to our budget and we're so tight financially, that as a council, that should not be our top priority right now. And even if we cannot get a grocery store, the homeless shelter that we had to put off, our infrastructure, Gilmore Street is in District 1 has not even been completed. It's not that what you're saying, I am for it 100%, but is that really a priority that would benefit all the residents in District 1? And I don't know if you had a meeting with all of them. I'm not sure. But your idea, I support it 100%. But right now, in our crunch time with our budget, and especially losing tax-exempt funding, and we don't even know what this year going to look like. Since it's 2 to 5 years, maybe the council can, I don't know, but that's my only concern, that we constantly keep coming up with projects and we don't complete the projects we already have. And how effective are we with our budget when it comes to that? Those are my only concerns.
Thank you, and those concerns are valid, Madam. So to answer your several questions, I want to say first, absolutely, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. And in order to do that, we do have to provide them resources. So the Children's Museum and Immersion Center was first the concept that was provided, that was original. And again, that funding was the seed money was started by ideally local owners, stakeholders, community people. That was their goal. The question became if there was an opportunity for building or something like that where the city could participate, was that a possibility? You ask about the existence of the current library. The existing library right now, as we know, across the nation, libraries are failing. They're being reimagined right now with technology and a lot of different things. And so we've talked about, and they're going through a strategic planning session right now, but the idea that especially the historic library on 10th Street, that it could be pulled out and focus on the adults that go there as well, some of our unhoused that are utilizing that service currently, but providing a separate safe space for our children. Combining the library with this museum was then the recommendation from the feedback from their strategic sessions that they were having. I thought it was a wonderful idea. I had not thought of that before. So that came from a community recommendation from their strategic session. Now we talk about funding. Obviously, I'm not in the position, we are not in the position, we've had this conversation for years of creating a grocery store. Our city cannot start that business. We understand that is a need. We're still exploring those options. We're still hoping that someone will come in and start that particular business, but we have to be able to walk and chew gum. So not only do we have homelessness situation, we have to address our youth, and especially because of the funding that's being cut from Killeen ISD, they actually have a need within their restructuring for after-hours programs. They need help with that within the community. So part of that, would qualify this program through the $8.5 billion that's been allocated. Part of that funding, that HB2, would qualify us if we were able to form a partnership with the Killeen ISD. That would qualify them for after programs and things like that. So the funding would actually ultimately be coming from private partnerships and the state, ideally.
That's ideally, correct?
Ideally, yeah, 'cause again, this is just concept. But the monies have been allocated. HB2 has been signed into law by our governor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Councilwoman Cobb, you have anything you want to say on that, or no? Is that yes or no?
No,
Yes,
but I
ma'am.
would like to make a comment.
Is it on this particular item? Because everything else has moved forward, and according to our governor's standards and expectation, once the council has voted on something, we cannot go backwards. So it has to be on this item or the next two items.
The library museum is a good plan. I'm gonna leave the other alone. I'm gonna leave the statement alone because of the governing standards. I'll be out loud.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So anything else? If not, we can move to the next item, or what we're going to do?
So my hope was that we can make a motion for our city staff to start the exploration process.
It's up to you and the council.
Yeah, okay, great, I will do it. So I would like to make a motion, and hopefully we'll have the support of our council, to explore and develop a coordinated plan of action to advance the exploration of a children's museum and immersion center integrated with the Children's Public Library through a public-private partnership. A plan of action shall establish a phase 2 to 5-year roadmap, identify potential sites with an emphasis on District 1, outline partnership roles, governance structure, funding strategies, and programming aligned with early childhood literacy and immersive learning. Also identify grant and philanthropic opportunities to support this effort. Staff shall return to City Council with a preliminary report and recommended framework on a date in June of 2026.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman Gonzalez. Is there a second to the motion, Councilmember Sagara?
I'll second that motion, Mayor.
All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Councilwoman Cobb, what is your pleasure?
This is for exploration only.
Yes.
Because we don't
Exporta-
have.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just to look into it.
Yeah, we can look. We can look
Okay.
into it, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Councilmember Kendrick, have you voted, sir? Motion carries 7-0. Madam Secretary.
DS 26002. Original Fire Station Number 1, Avenue D Fire Station, request for proposal, RFP.
Thank you. Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for entertaining this. This subject is for creating an RFP for the fire station, the old fire station number 1 on Avenue D. As y'all know, we did something similar with the Southern Roots building. During that process, we had 30-something proposals that came in for that building, which I thought was an overwhelming response, and seeing the interest of the community at large. So we have this building in downtown that's currently vacant, being used for storage for the fire department. I know that there's been some interest in this building after speaking with some of our staff members. There's some private parties that are interested in renovating it and turning this into another destination spot like Southern Roots Brewing Company, which is now downtown. As we know, buildings that are owned by the city don't pay any taxes, and this building needs a substantial amount of money to renovate it into something. So I don't think it's a wise use of tax dollars, public tax dollars, to renovate that building. The smartest thing, in my opinion, would be to put it back on the tax rolls in the hands of a private business owner that can turn it into something to not only generate property tax revenue, but also sales tax revenue and create another destination to help continue to bolster the successes that we've been seeing in our downtown. So, pretty simple, straightforward, I think.
Thank you. Mr. Kagan, I thought that is what we were going to do, or Chief Kabinski, that discussion, I thought we were going to do that anyway.
Yes, ma'am, we've been doing some preliminary work to see what it would take to put this out. We've been, had some asbestos surveys, some structural, and we've actually shown it to a couple of private parties. So we just haven't done a formal RFP.
Okay, thank you. Can I get your motion, Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes, Mayor, I would move to create an RFP and to be disseminated by staff for the fire station on Avenue D.
Thank you. Councilmember Cigar?
I second that, Mayor.
You want the second? Okay. Okay, I saw you was pushing. All right, any more discussion? All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Councilwoman Cobb, what is your pleasure?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Councilmember request for future agenda item. Madam Secretary.
RQ 26001, honor legacy of Betty Ann McLaurin.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you. I was glad that family and friends were able to speak on behalf of this request to honor in the downtown area. It's important that we take time to honor the citizens who give so much of themselves to our community. Their service, leadership, and compassion leave a long-lasting impact that shapes who we are and who we strive to be. Co-naming a street in their honor is a small gesture compared to the lifetime of dedication, but also serves as a permanent reminder of their legacy and inspiration of the future to give back and serve with the same commitment. So my hope is that we can do something similar, which, again, we have to explore those options, but something similar that we did Cunningham with the Bishop's street naming. So that's my hope, is that we can at least explore what opportunities might be available for Ms. McLaurin in the downtown area.
Yes, ma'am. But this one will be a little different because Bishop Holcomb Christian House of Prayer, they paid for that. So are we, you just want to explore this? Okay, so great idea, and I'm glad they did show up. She has done a lot of great things in our community, so that would be someone that to consider definitely recognizing. Is that a motion of direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Council, Mayor Pro Tem.
I second the motion.
Okay, any more discussion? Councilman Solomon, did you want to say something? No. Oh, okay. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Councilwoman Cobb?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Councilmember Sagara, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, I move to adjourn this great meeting and get ready for a second one.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Solomon. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. That's yes, yes, yes. That's yes. A meeting adjourned. Please don't leave.